then I will.
Does a comet become a meteor? When does a candle become a blaze? When does a man become a monster? When does a ripple become a tidal wave? When does the reason become the blame? When does a man become a monster? I'm just a man.
Your father looks at the knife. I wait for you, and I forgive you.
The dream. The golden figure was gone, and in its place was now a desert. Perturabo walked. Parched and tired, it took his full will to muster the resolve to continue onwards. What felt like an eternity had passed when he came upon a tree, and under that tree sat a man, or what a lesser mind would see as a man. The man looked at Perturabo expectantly, like a warlord awaiting his tribute. "I have nothing to give, my lord." The man looked to Perturabo's hands, and in them was a flask, unremarkable and plain. He had not noticed it all his time in this forsaken place, but now he understood. He knelt to this man and poured the water between his parched lips. As he did, he felt himself grow weaker as the man grew stronger. Then the emperor's voice echoed in Perturabo's ears, imbued with wisdom and compassion. He told Perturabo that he has done well, but that his trials had just begun, that even in the face of this utter darkness and desolation, there is hope yet, because of him. You have snatched victory from defeat, shifted the scales ever so slightly, just enough that the enemy yet again fears my return. Return. Perturabo's voice was hoarse, the strain of talking to his father in this place, at this time almost too painful to bear. His father spoke again. "It grows near. Repair the wards." The emperor's psyche bored into Perturabo. No elegance. His father was in a rush. He had never seen him like this. And yet his mind, once it had breached his, was as it ever was, a bastion of order and calm, and it instilled in him the plan, what it once was, and what it will now be. He gave him knowledge so terrible as to boil one's blood. And finally, he understood. Malcador spoke true. Shadows approached. Now drawn by the power his father had used, 4 there were. He had never seen such contempt and hatred in his father's eyes. They glowed with power, and Perturabo flew backwards, waking in the medical bed back in the impossible city. But still as close to the warp as the Webway was, he and his men felt the walls of this Aeldari marvel shake violently, as if rocked by the supernova of a sun. Awaken, son of the Emperor. As consciousness gradually returned to him, Perturabo found himself lying upon a medical cot in his command room, surrounded by the soft hum of machinery and the flickering glow of rune displays. Forik stood nearby, his gaze fixed on the apothecary as he tended to Perturabo's injuries. With a deep breath, Perturabo stirred, his eyes fluttering open as he struggled to push himself into a sitting position. The apothecary turned his attention to his Primarch, concern etched upon his features. "Perturabo, my lord, you must rest," the apothecary insisted, his voice laced with worry. But Perturabo waved him off with a dismissive gesture, his mind already racing with thoughts of the battle raging outside. "Attend to my sons," he commanded, his voice firm and unwavering. "They need you more than I." The apothecary hesitated for a moment, before nodding in reluctant agreement, knowing better than to defy his Primarch's orders. With a final glance at Perturabo, he turned to tend to the wounded warriors who lay scattered across the room. With a grunt of effort, Perturabo pushed himself to his feet, ignoring the protests of his battered body as he made his way to the command table. The runes flickered and danced across its surface, displaying the unfolding battle for the impossible city in vivid detail. His eyes narrowed as he surveyed the chaos unfolding before him, his mind already calculating strategies and tactics to turn the tide of battle in their favor. But as he studied the display, he saw Ra Endymion standing at the forefront of the defense, his golden armor gleaming in the dim light of the command room. Perturabo felt a surge of pride and gratitude wash over him as he watched Ra leading his sons with unwavering resolve. Despite the overwhelming odds stacked against them, Ra held the line with a steadfast determination that bordered on madness. With a sense of renewed purpose from his father, Perturabo straightened his posture, his resolve hardening like iron. He knew that the fate of the Imperium and his father's dream rested upon their shoulders, and he would not rest until victory was secured. Chapter 12. Bound by Iron and Will. Now away from the front, Perturabo had two tasks ahead of him: to find and repair the wards, and to create the machines needed to push the demons back in order to get to the wards. Within the confines of the impossible city, Perturabo delved into the forbidden knowledge bestowed upon him by his father, the Emperor. His mind, a crucible of ingenuity and determination, forged designs that defied the boundaries of mortal understanding. Amidst the echoes of war and the flickering glow of arcane machinery, Perturabo toiled ceaselessly to bring his vision to life. With each stroke of his stylus and each calculation of his cogitators, he fashioned weapons of unparalleled power, drawing upon the boundless energies of the warp and the intricate craftsmanship of the mechanicum. The heart of the impossible city became a crucible of creation, where demonic essences were bound to steel and circuitry, yielding monstrous constructs known as demon engines. These technological marvels bore the mark of the Imperium, their designs a testament to Perturabo's mastery over both science and sorcery. With each demon engine that emerged from the depths of his workshops, Perturabo felt a surge of pride and awe. These were not the twisted abominations of chaos, but instruments of war imbued with the disciplined spirit of mankind. Their very presence struck fear into the hearts of the enemy, for they were harbingers of destruction, bound by iron and will to serve the Emperor's cause. As the first of these creations rumbled to life, Perturabo knew that he had forged a new breed of weapon, one that would turn the tide of battle in humanity's favor. With these demon engines at his command, he prepared to unleash a storm of devastation upon the enemies of the Imperium, their fury unmatched and their loyalty unwavering. Production. In the heart of the impossible city, Perturabo stood before the assembled ranks of the Mechanicum, his gaze hard, his demeanor annoyed as he addressed the gathered tech priests and magi. Around him, the thrum of machinery echoed through the halls, a testament to the limited but industrious capabilities of the city's forges, supplemented by the grandeur of the Imperial Palace's manufacturing facilities. "Brothers of the Machine," Perturabo began, his voice resonating with authority. "I have called you here to discuss a matter of grave importance. The time has come to harness the full might of our technology in service to the Emperor." The tech priests exchanged wary glances, their augmetic eyes flickering with uncertainty. "And what do you propose, Lord Perturabo?" one of them asked, his voice tinged with suspicion. Perturabo's expression hardened. "I propose the mass production of my new invention, psychic-born engines," he declared, his words ringing out like a clarion call. "These creations will serve as the vanguard of our defense, striking fear into the hearts of our enemies and driving them back into the abyss from whence they came." A murmur of dissent rippled through the ranks of the Mechanicum, their objections voiced in a cacophony of binary canticles and machine code. "You mean demon engine? Abominable intelligences!" one priest yelled. But before more could join the dissent, Diocletian stepped forward, his presence commanding attention. "Silence!" Diocletian's voice boomed, cutting through the din like a thunderclap. "You question the will of a Primarch? The will of the Emperor himself?" The tech priests faltered, their protests silenced by Diocletian's unquestionable authority. "It is by the will of the Emperor that these psychic-born engines be made," Diocletian declared, his words resonating with solemn conviction. "His vision guides us, and we must obey." At Diocletian's words, the tech priests bowed their heads in deference, their voices intoning the sacred litany of their creed. "By the will of the Omnissiah," they murmured, their words a solemn oath of allegiance to their master. Perturabo nodded in approval, his eyes alight with determination. "So it shall be," he declared, his voice ringing with authority. "Let the forge vanes roar and the assembly lines churn. We shall arm ourselves with the might of the machine, and together we shall crush the enemies of the Imperium beneath our iron heel." And with that decree, the wheels of industry were set in motion, the Mechanicum's vast foundries and manufactoria humming with new-found purpose. For in the crucible of war, the Emperor's will was made manifest, and his champions stood ready to forge a new era of victory amidst the chaos of this impossible war, unleashing the engines of war. Kruger fought with all the fury and skill at his command, his blade cutting through the ranks of demonic foes with deadly precision. But even the mightiest warriors could only hold out for so long against the relentless onslaught an enemy that cannot die. As he clashed with the demons, Kroger's keen eyes caught sight of Foryx, surrounded by a swarm of twisted horrors. Without hesitation, Kroger charged to his brother's aid, his heart filled with a grim sense of duty. With a roar of defiance, Kroger hewed through the demons with ferocity, his every strike a testament to the iron in his blood. But in the midst of battle, a towering demon loomed before him, its grotesque form bristling with unholy power. Kroger squared off against the demon, his muscles straining against the weight of his blade. Blow after blow rained down upon him, each one threatening to break through his defenses and claim his life. But Kroger fought on, his will unbroken despite the pain and exhaustion. With a final, desperate effort, Kroger unleashed a devastating strike, cleaving through the demon's defenses and slaying it where it stood. But the victory came at a cost, as Kroger was left grievously wounded, his strength fading with each passing moment. His warriors rushed to his side. They carried their fallen leader away from the battlefield. As they disappeared into the smoke and shadows, Kroger's thoughts turned to his comrades, still fighting on the front lines, their unwavering dedication to duty and their sacrifice driving him to endure even in the face of death. Foryx stood at the forefront of the battle, his warriors locked in a desperate struggle against the relentless tide of demonic horrors. The air was thick with the stench of blood and sulphur, and the ground trembled beneath the weight of countless demon feet. As the battle raged on, Foryx and his warriors fought with grim determination, their blades flashing and their bolters roaring as they cut down wave after wave of demonic assailants. But despite their valor, the enemy seemed inexhaustible, their numbers overwhelming the defenders with sheer weight of numbers. Just when all hope seemed lost, a rumble echoed through the battlefield, accompanied by the sound of grinding metal and the hiss of escaping steam. Foryx looked up, his heart sinking as he beheld a new horror emerging from the smoke and shadows, a monstrous machine of twisted metal and demonic flesh, its baleful eyes glowing with unholy light. For a moment, Foryx thought that all was lost, that this new abomination would spell their doom. But then, to his astonishment, the demon engine turned its wrath upon the daemons, its weapons blazing with righteous fury as it tore through the enemy ranks with devastating force. Awe and disbelief washed over Foryx as he watched the demon engines lay waste to the demonic hordes, their unearthly power turning the tide of battle in an instant. "I guess we have our own monsters now," he murmured to himself, a note of grim satisfaction in his voice.